Good morning, folks. Merry stupid o'clock. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I am your host, Tiffany Daniels. We're going back to that horrible world known as the JRC, but first the usual disclaimers. In the description box, you're going to see a link to the article that the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center doesn't want you to read. It is written by NeuroClastic, a small non-profit started by autistics for autistics, where they surveyed over 900 ABA professionals from all over the world in regards to JRC's quote-unquote behavioral treatment program. In fact, the JRC doesn't want you to read this article so much, they have threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they did not remove it from their website. NeuroClastic has, of course, refused because we will not be silenced, JRC. Nice try, but no dice. So, please read that article, make it viral, share on all your social media. You're also going to see a link to NeuroClastic's public statement in regards to the threat, and you're also going to see in there their GoFundMe started by Greg. We are crowdfunding them, folks, in case the JRC has the balls to see through their threat. You're also going to see in there some links in regards to the Agape boarding school situation out in Stockton, Missouri, and what's going on there, what that's all about. There will be more links as I continue to gather more information. My cat tends to meow in the background while I'm doing so, all right? We also have the other pertinent links to the Stop the Shocks campaign, including Autistic Hoya's massive archive on the subject, the templates, and the ever-present self-explanatory change.org Shut the Judge Rotenberg Center Down petition. Folks, when we discuss the JRC, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips or surveillance footage of people with disabilities being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please use your headphones, all right? Okay, we're going back to where we left off yesterday morning, and that's going to be 91. Nope, it's going to be 90. All right, it is 4:24 a.m. in the morning, folks. I'm not awake, so if I stumble over my words, apologies in advance. Now we'll start. Sorry, my brain is not awake. The June report states that a staff member working with a student in a conference room reported to NYSED that students can spend the entire day in a small room restrained if necessary, only to be slowly released as they feel the target behaviors are decreasing in intensity. That is, in fact, true and matches the statements of all witnesses. See, what the JRC really likes to say isn't true, and then tell you why it is, are all the statements that match up right alongside the testimonies of the survivors of this hellhole. But they're going to tell us that everybody's lying but the JRC. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Is there a NARC playbook that I'm unaware of? Because they all use it. Agape uses it. JRC uses it. Hell, even AH uses it. And if there is such a book, can we kill it with fire? Just saying. This is not an accurate quote from this staff person. Okay, so you're going to tell us what they actually meant. Okay, JRC. Students are only placed in a conference room or an emergency restraint when they engage behaviors that demonstrate an imminent risk of serious physical harm to themselves or others. Restraint is removed as soon as this risk dissipates. Students are returned to the regular classroom as soon as their behavior indicates they can return to class without disrupting the classroom. You realize that you just said that that's not accurate, and then you just explained that it was accurate, right? Mr. Brahma Cat. Sorry, interrupting cat goes meow. So what I was saying here, before I got interrupted, is that what's going on here, folks, is they continue to say, but it's not true. But this is why it's true. But it has to happen. Kind of sounds like AH, doesn't it? Oh, I wasn't there. But I was. But I was defending myself. About the same level of argument, isn't it? Isn't it, though? But context. Context doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot when that context keeps changing depending on what they had needed to be for that particular day or report to respond to. I'm just saying. So JRC, you basically tried to tell us that that was not accurate. That was not an accurate quote. And then you put down and elaborated on how it was actually a very accurate quote. Fuck me. I am not awake enough for this level of stupidity. Elaine, eat your fucking heart out. It was observed that some of the students placed in the conference rooms were not exhibiting any inappropriate behaviors, were playing video games, and or completing worksheets. One of the first steps for determining whether a student is ready to return to his or her classroom safely is to give the student some schoolwork to do in the conference room and observe whether the student can follow instructions without engaging in disruptive behavior. I fucking hate this so much because their idea of disruptive behavior in the rest of the planets is vastly different, but they like to use, I like to call it coded wording. So what is coded wording? It's using very vague words in order to paint a picture in a particular way. So they use vague terms like disruptive without elaborating because they want you to fill in the blank. Disruptive behavior can be different depending on the individual who's observing. Disruptive behavior, according to the JRC, as we have seen in DESI report after DESI report, can literally be so much as standing up or stopping work for more than 3 seconds. See what I mean? Let's go forward here. As in all other settings at the JRC, students who follow their educational lesson receive rewards, which is why this student was playing a video game. Oh, for fuck's sake. Here we go with the stick and carrot. You've been a good girl. You want to play that video game? You want to play that video game? How about a biscuit? You were a good girl. We're not going to torture you this time. This time you get a cookie. Sickening, isn't it? Fucking disgusting. If I had to choose, honestly, folks, if I had to choose being a rational, reasonable, analytical human being between getting shocked or getting a fucking cookie, so to speak, we'll call it the metaphorical cookie, or just being treated like a normal fucking human being, what do you think I'm going to choose? If I had to choose between getting a cookie when I'm good and getting shocked within an inch of my life to having my human fucking rights respected, what do you think I'm going to choose? Yeah, just saying. A student who can be calm and participate in academics without engaging in disruptive behavior is returned to his or regular classroom. Again, you gotta love that coded wording. A member of the student's treatment team monitors the time each student may spend in a conference room. Again, we're told to trust them. They're professionals. It's that appeal to authority that falls on deaf ears when you see that fucking video of Andre McCollins, who is doing nothing threatening. He just didn't want to take off his fucking coat. It falls on deaf ears when you see and you've gone over with a fine-tooth comb the evidence. In addition, rewards in the conference rooms are offered more frequently and for longer durations than those typically offered in the less restrictive environments. Oh, goody! Really? I'd rather have my human fucking rights respected than be subjected to the stick and carrot routine, especially when the stick is basically considered torture by all other developed nations in the world. This is because these students have not yet learned to control their behavior for substantial periods of time. Notice they don't elaborate. They like to use the word behavior. They like to use the words disruptive, but they never elaborate on what those mean. They want us to reach this romanticized ideal of normal, when what that actually is, what that turns these kids into, are people who are extremely susceptible to being manipulated and abused after they leave the school. When you are taught to never say no, never cry or respond when abuse is happening to you or around you, when you are taught to expect that kind of treatment and that they're doing it because they care about you, when you are being starved and sleep deprived, and then you finally leave that hellhole, when you've had this drilled into your mind for years, other than the usual psychological as well as physical issues you're going to have, what does that set you up for? They want us malleable. They don't want to help us. They want to control us. And let me say that again for the idiots in the back who don't seem to fucking understand. They don't want to help us. They want to control us. They want to make us into their idea of the perfected normal so that they can use and abuse us time and again as society sees fucking fit. They want us to make them feel more comfortable. Okay? Moving on. It is important that these such students, even though they are in restrictive type of educational environment, have access to rewards and are able to earn them frequently. For the fuck's sakes, nobody... Let me explain this before we go off here. JRC, nobody gives a fuck about rewards. Let me tell you about rewards and punishments, folks, in regards to a therapy setting. It doesn't fucking work. Not in the long term, not in the real life. And I'm going to tell you why. Do you know that line that usually goes a little like this? Someone will only do enough work just not to get fired. It applies here. It very much applies here. It means a student is going to do just enough in order to not get tortured. And sure, having a soda pop or something every so often is nice. Everybody likes a reward here and there. You know, the whole idea, treat yourself, right? But when you use it like this, it sets someone up for a life after this school that is not realistic and makes them, basically, you might as well put a fucking target on their back and push them out to the wolves. This doesn't prepare them for real life. It prepares them to be used and abused in real life. You're making robots. You're making fucking drones. And on that note, folks, we're going to go ahead and close out this morning. We don't get very many views on this channel, especially on this subject. The few that we do tend to get removed from time to time. So please don't forget to hit that like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time this morning. And as always, we here at Smelling Tea hope you have a good one. Bye-bye.